Aloha, this is News Behind the News, and I'm Eliza Zimmerman. I want to do something a little different today. We usually talk about politics or government or special investigations, but today we're going to take a look into Hawaii's healers. And I want to start a series on Hawaii's healers because there's so many people in Hawaii that are seeking to be healthier, and of course we have so many talented people here in Hawaii that can share their knowledge. So I want to welcome today Dr. Eliza Kim. And thank you for joining us today. And tell us a little bit about yourself, what kind of healer you are and how you started to get into this business.
Well, I'm a holistic chiropractor. I've been in practice since 1997. I practiced in Kansas City and then in Miami, and then I came to Hawaii, and I've been here since 2004. I started as a chiropractor, what we call a straight chiropractor. And what that means is pretty much, all you do is manipulations. And I really was very passionate about it. I literally slept, I ate, I breathed chiropractic. And that's all I really wanted to do was just, save the world through chiropractic. But I have realized that 80% of my patients are getting well, and they're doing wonderfully after chiropractic adjustments. But then there are that 20%, they weren't getting better. They would get better and then they'll reach a plateau, and that was really concerning me because I felt like there was something else that I could do. And I started looking into different things, and I realized, I could incorporate nutrition into my practice. I could incorporate emotional techniques and as well as spirituality. And when I did that, it literally made such a profound impact on my practice and the healing that I was doing in my office. So that's why, I am a holistic chiropractor.
So you're kind of looking at the person to help them heal with their pain, their back pain or whatever kind of pain they have by looking at basically their nutrition, their emotional health, and their spiritual health,
right,
as well as physical. So you kind of bring it all into one.
Well, what I have found is that, many people, when they have physical illnesses or pain, there's going to be almost always an emotional side to it, and then there will be a spiritual side to it. So, people, they may just come in because of headaches or low back pain, but then, when we start really digging into it, stress plays a huge factor in how patients will or people will perceive pain or bring in an illness. So as far as making sure that their whole wellness is really rounded, it's all there like as a whole being, we have to make sure that we look at all four of those aspects, and including chemical.
Well, tell me about how did you get to Hawaii, and a little bit about your practice, because there's other doctors there as well.
Well, I practiced in Kansas City. I went to Cleveland Chiropractic College, and I stayed there, and I am originally from Kansas City. So I practiced there for 4 years, and then I decided that I needed to leave Kansas City because I needed to be near the ocean. So I ended up going to Miami, and I practiced there for another 4 years, and I ended up moving here. But before I moved while I was moved to Miami, I decided that I wanted to do kind of go on a spiritual journey. So I didn't practice for a year and 2 months, and all I did was travel through the world, trying to figure out, who I am and what it is, what my purpose is in this lifetime. And that was really important to me, and I'm really grateful that I had an experience, where I could go out there and try to find myself.
What got you to the point where you decided you wanted to do that, where you were able to go on this trip, this journey? What was there a turning point, or you just felt stuck, or what was it that made you decide to do that?
I was burnt out. All I did was I went school to school to school, and then I went straight into practicing, and I think I was really burnt out. And I think burnt out in a way where I felt like, I was just kind of spinning my wheel, where, people, like I said, people getting better, but, there's got to be more to it. And at the same time, I was going through my own spiritual journey where I needed to really find, why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? And I knew always, that I wanted to be a healer. But I think, in early, I started practicing at 25. So, for me, it was more like, okay, I got all this lifetime to be doing chiropractic and to be a healer, but what else can I do? What more can I do that'll really make a huge impact in this universe and in this world?
Now, when you came to Hawaii, what did you see different here that may have been compared to other states or similar in terms of the kinds of healers, the number of healers, that kind of thing?
Well, one of the things that I've seen in Hawaii is that we have tremendous healing energy here and also tremendous healers. Like, I have never seen such phenomenal healers with such wonderful energies. And I think, just being in Hawaii itself is so healing.
Definitely. So what about your practice? You have other people in the same office, but not partners, but how does that work?
We're all independent contractors, and I think, I'm not exactly sure how many we have anymore, because I think we may have some like 15 other doctors, and we have just different, we have another chiropractor in the office, we have, psychiatrists, psychologists, and they're just different professionals, that are in there, and we all work together.
To kind of help get the whole person going, huh?
Exactly.
Whole person healed.
Exactly.
So in terms of your own, background, what do you think took you to the point where you were going from just straight chiropractic into more of the spiritual aspect of healing?
I think that's a really great question, Malia. I think it really had to do with wanting to understand a person's soul and their spirit, and what it is they really want. Is it just a physical healing that they wanted, or is it something more? And I really felt, even from my personal experience, I felt like, once I reached my physical healing plateau, that there was more that I wanted, and I saw that there are other people who wanted more as well. And when I started studying this, I realized when I thought I knew everything, I know nothing. And I think that was part of my journey to more knowledge and my spirituality. Right.
Isn't that true? Where we all get to the point where we think we know some subject and there's a whole new world out there, right?
Oh, I wish I knew everything. And just, this is why it's so humbling. And this is one of the reasons what keeps me grounded is knowing that I know nothing.
What are some of the things that you've been able to help people heal from, do you think? I mean, over the years, and how has that happened?
Well, people initially used to come in because of certain pain, and they wanted to, like, some people come in because they have been to other chiropractors and they wanted to maintain, good spinal alignment, and also, to work on what we call subluxations, which is misaligned spine that's pinching on the nerve. But then nowadays, it's people may be led with pain, but they understand once they come into my office, and mostly because it's a referral, office, but they understand that there is going to be a lot more to it, and that's part of the things that I go over during my consultations and also during their sessions. Is that this may not be 100% physical problem. There may be other areas that we need to look at, and I have seen so many people here, especially in Hawaii. One of the biggest issue is that so many of them are nurturers. They give, and until they have nothing left. And I realize, at some point, you have to stop and say, okay, I need to take care of myself first in order for me to take care of everybody else.
I think that's so true. It's a cultural thing where a lot of people do help take care of big families, or there's generations of families in one house, and so people are, especially moms and grandmas, are working very, very hard.
Right, exactly.
So in terms of maybe the spiritual aspects of it, I know some of the things that you talk about are past lives or reincarnation, things like that. And do you feel like a lot of times people have, the people that just can't get better, tell me about what you think that's problems from. Maybe it's from another life or so on.
So I do a lot of past life work, and it's because of there are a lot of programs and a lot of emotions, or a lot of energies that we carry on from other lifetime. And some people may not believe it, and that's okay. Then we just go right back to the womb part of it. What the emotion as as a child, they may not have known, what that really felt like, but at 2 months old, they don't know, just something little can be such a huge impact, it could be traumatic to them, it could be the happiest of, moment of their lives. They don't know that. But, I have been able to trace back to different past lives or, to the birthing process. And found that there are a lot of energies that are carried on from those lifetimes that is not their energy at this time. So many times, people don't even know that their problem, these are like all subconscious kind of things, they're not aware of it. But then when I start talking about this, it starts to make sense because they realize that is not their emotion.
So you're able to kind of help people that are open to that, because some people might not believe in past
And
lives.
that's okay.
And
Yeah.
different different kinds of Christianity or
Absolutely.
different religions may not believe that, but you're able to kind of help people with that.
Yeah, if they want to, then that's a kind of avenue. I will go a little further than the physical and emotional, beings or state that's happening in this present moment. I'll take them into other lifetimes if they have to. But it's something, it's not like a hypnosis. It's something that you can clear almost right away, and there may be layers of it that we have to clear, but it can be cleared. And it makes such a huge, profound impact on many people's, emotional, physical wellness.
Mm-hmm. So, in terms of maybe give some examples about some people that you think have had carried things on from other lives and how you've been able to help them.
Well, for example, this is, the reason that you work on a past life is really, to clear those emotions and energies, right? But that is to raise their consciousness. So, for example, like a person who may have neck pain, that could be because they were tortured in some way in their past life, or they may have been hung by their neck. If they have asthma or allergies, it could be because they're burnt in their past lives, or they had a problem with certain kind of animals where, like in a tiger or something in the cat family may have inflicted harm on them, and then next thing you know, in this lifetime, they may have cat allergies. Those are kind of things, we work on. Mm-hmm. It's really whatever, I don't really go and dig, and I don't really need to know the story behind what really happened. All I need to know is I just need to clear that lifetime, and then, and then clear that program. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much all we do, because there's, to me, it's enough to focus on what's happening in this lifetime. There's so much going on in this lifetime that why even bother, really trying to know all your stories. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really serve you in this lifetime, right?
Right.
So I think it's important to be really present, but if those past lives are affecting you in this lifetime, then clear it.
Mm-hmm. So what in terms of maybe what you see in terms of some other healers, what they're doing in Hawaii to kind of work on this kind of issue with healing? Has been like Reiki, or what kinds of healers have you seen that have been impactful?
I have, in Hawaii, let me just kind of trace back to, how this all started for me. I was introduced, during my chiropractic boot camp to something called holotropic breathing. And it literally was transforming for me. It was life-changing for me, because if it hadn't been for that, I probably would have been still searching, or never been even aware of, where I needed to, what I know now. And I went through a series of holotropic breathing technique, and from there, I was able to go into not only into my past life, but into the future. I was traveling, through the, astral, doing astral travels. It's just a very, very deep, almost like a hypnosis type of thing, but it's more like a meditation through music. So that was one of the things, and I used to travel to California. I went to Russia, to St. Petersburg. There are a lot of phenomenal healers. I have had a lot of past lives in Russia myself, and for me, when I go to Russia, it's almost like something gets triggered and my energy completely changes. I can do the kind of healing that I can't do when I come back to the States. It's pretty phenomenal. So I was doing that, and I've been to different, like Hands of Life, like a light, I think Hands of Light is what they call it, healing by Barbara Brennan. There are many, many different healers I have gone to get my healing done. And here in Hawaii, I can't even recall how many people that I've seen, but I had many different healers.
I know one of the interesting ones that I've looked into. There's Reiki, there's Shiatsu,
Right,
there's
right.
all kinds of different.
Yeah, a lot of light workers here in Hawaii, just tremendous light workers. And as a matter of fact, so many of them like live in like different dimensions, and yeah, I think our vibration is going to attract whoever is going to be the right person for you. And I think, trusting intuitively, who is going to be the right person for you is going to be the key to this. Because, to me, for me, it's always been my mentors, like the right and perfect mentors and healers came in place just when I needed them. And then they will do whatever they need to do for me, and then the next one will come along, and next one will come along. And of course, I still have the same mentors for many, many years, but they're always going to be, people who's going to guide me and support me and heal me in so many different, state and levels. So I think as as we trust the whole process, we're going to be guided to those healers.
So, basically talking like this, I mean, you kind of open up a whole new world to people that might not have ever thought about the different ways of healing. They might just think, I just need my back cracked, or I just need my migraine medicine, or, that kind of thing. But there really is, if people want to pursue it, they could really look into a whole different world of possibilities.
And there are patients, who probably do not know anything about what I have just talked about today, because I know that their consciousness is pretty much, just go and get me adjusted and get me well, get me out of pain. And I totally respect that, because I used to believe, what I believed is what people should believe in, because I felt like, what I was doing was the right thing for everyone. Being holistic is the only way I thought was pretty much possible to live on this earth. But, after many years of rejection, arguments, and also just coming to understand the person and their being, I realized, it's not the right way. It's only the right way if the person feels is the right way, or when they're ready. And everything is the right way. So I think going back to, trusting the process, there's no such thing as, better, something better, but whatever is going to be perfect for you at that time is the kind of vibration you're going to attract.
So part of it, a lot of it actually is attitude.
It
Positive attitude, right?
It is.
About
and being open to, your intuition. That's always the thing. I'm always talking about, opening your third eye, because when you are, a lot of times third eye is closed, which is right here in your, right between the eyebrows. It's because, people are not able to, they either are in denial of needing to see what they need to see, or they pretty much are not aware. They're just ignorant, which is fine. That's where they are. But when you're blocked in your third eye, I think it's one of the biggest tragedy in this life, because you can't see anything past what's in front of you, and then before you know it, you are in this drama of what goes on in this world, and you are literally, your life is consumed by that drama. And when you can step back and say, okay, I'm ready to open up my third eye, and you can see things, past, beyond what you can actually see with your eyes, that makes a big, huge difference.
It can definitely help with healing, and it can also be a little scary.
Oh, it can be for some people.
Yeah.
It really can be, because, the reason that you can't see, or your third eye is blocked, is because you have made a decision, or your subconscious has made a decision that you don't want to see it. You're in denial. So it can be kind of scary. And, if that's the case and you want to function that way for the rest of your life, that's okay,
Yeah. So you have a very special connection with your family. You have your husband and your child, your son, and you want to talk a little bit about that, about the spirituality of children. Just how people can not only connect with their own children, but also help them heal if they have problems.
Well, because as an adult, there are many things we can do. Now we have something called consciousness, and we have choices. But as children, we need to, guide them and support them and love them, as much as we can, and all that we can. And one of the things that I have, this is an experience that I had with my child, and it is that when I was pregnant with him, people used to always go, do you want a boy or a girl? And I used to go, the only thing that I want is that I want him to know that I understand him. That's the only thing that I want from him. And people go, wow, I thought, most of people say, I want my child to be healthy. I don't really care if it's a boy or girl, just for them to be healthy is, what I want. But I already knew that he was going to be healthy. That was never a question. And boy and girl, it doesn't matter. Gender is not a huge thing, right? But I think so many of my life, I was trying to find myself, and I felt I wasn't understood. And at the same time, I couldn't understand other people either. And for that reason, that kind of understanding was something that I really, really want my child to have, because to know who he is was one of the most important thing in my life, or for him. Mm-hmm. So, pretty recently, I had I was consulting with this psychic who reads Akashic records, and she just kind of came about and she said this one thing that pretty much was like, whoa, I cannot even believe that she knew this. And she said, your child and you have one contract, and the only contract that he has with you is that you understand who he is. And I was just blown away. How did she know this? Because, this is something that I hadn't even told my husband yet, and I hadn't told too many people about it. So it really blew me away. So I knew then, that really was my contract, and, and I knew that because he pretty much planned it that way.
Well, one of the things that, some people believe mm-hmm. is that before we came mm-hmm. to this world, that we kind of had a plan. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're talking about with the records,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So talk a little bit about that. So people that just to explain what it is, so that people that don't have any idea what that is, that they'll understand, or that they don't remember that they do.
Yes, and that's the problem. Is that yes, when we reincarnate, we forget everything, and that's the problem with reincarnation. Is that we have to pretty much learn everything over again. But some people have better memory of it than others. And I was reading. I don't know if you ever read this book. It's just such a phenomenal book, A Course in Miracles. And one of the things they said in the Course in Miracles is that there are chosen ones, and it's not that any one of us any special or unique, but we are the chosen ones are the ones who listen faster, and when I was thinking about that, that's exactly what that remembering part is. When we reincarnate, we have to remember the person who remembers faster, who acknowledges the spirituality, who really becomes more, goes through this atonement with God, then we come to this, part, where we feel, wow, we are truly, truly connected. And I think that's the part about the reincarnation and incarnating into this life is that we have lessons that we're supposed to learn. Each one of us have different lessons that we have to learn, and whether we learn that in this lifetime or not, or into the next lifetime, we don't learn it, we're going to have to learn in our next lifetime. But for me, I've always said that this is my last lifetime. I'm not coming back. And I had mentioned this to a monk, when I was studying with him in Korea, and he kind of like chuckled a little bit, and he's like, there are different levels of enlightenment you have to go through in this lifetime before you can decide, before somebody decides for you that you can reincarnate or not. And I remember thinking, no, you're wrong, But of course, I wasn't going to tell him that because I did have a lot of respect for him. But I truly, truly believe that in my heart, and I know now in my heart that this is my last lifetime. So what that means to me is to be able to speak the truth. Okay, what my soul is yearning for, to be able to give that love is probably one of the most important things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what do you think the most important thing is, for people to know when they're in pain? What can they do? What is the most important thing for them to be able to pursue?
Well, one of my things is, first of all, my job is to get them out of pain. Mm-hmm. That you have to kind of work from the foundation part of it, which means, get rid of the physical pain first. And then, go into the, emotional part of it, the chemical part of it, nutritional part of it, and, we look at the spiritual part of it. And some people, they come in, we can go straight to spirituality, but most of the people, we need to lay the foundation first, because you have to learn how to live on this earth before, we can do, the things up here, okay? So one of the things, that's most profound for me has been making sure that you eat foods that are, in the same vibration as where you want to be, which means whole foods. The foods that has life in them is where you want to be, okay, what you want to eat. And the kind of foods are obviously, all like kale and Brussels sprouts, and lean organic meats, those are kind of things you want to be eating. And then, the second thing is a meditation part of it. So what that means is the meditation is, people go, it's so hard, to meditate, and I can never get into it. For me, is about meditating with intention. And what the intention is, it's pretty much becoming one with myself, but also allowing myself to be, in now. So if my mind is wandering, I'm going to embrace that. I'm not going to say, okay, I need to have a blank mind. And I was always taught that's how I was supposed to meditate, but embrace whatever is coming to me. And once that happens, that allows, all the energy and all the light to come through, from the divine source. And another thing is, for me, because I need to go and heal, but I would recommend doing this for everyone, is to make sure that your chakras or your energy fields are in alignment. Just like your spine is. Because if you are too open or too closed, or if something is blocked, then you're going to walk around all day long, go through your day being blocked. And things are just not going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. Okay.
So maybe you can list off some of your favorite books so people can get more information.
Oh, my favorite books. I have too many. My favorite book at this time is A Course in Miracles. But it's not for everyone because it's really, really dense and it's difficult to read. But another book that I really enjoyed was Gail Thackeray's book. And Gail Thackeray has a workbook that you can do this in 30 days. So every day you just read a paragraph, you meditate on it, and then you can pretty much come up with, whatever you need to be, your thoughts are. But in 30 days, it's called 30 Days to Prosperity. So it's about, getting your relationship and your, finances in order by changing your subconsciousness and also bringing the light.
Oh, that's good. Okay. And then if people want to get more information about you and what is your website?
So my website is www.DrElizaKim.com. So it's drelizakim.com.
All right. Well, thank you. Can you believe it? We're already out of time.
Too fast.
I know.
Thank you, Malia.
Well, thank you so much. This is just one in a series of healers in Hawaii that we want to feature, and we want to thank Dr. Kim for coming today. This has been News Behind the News. Aloha.